Welcome in, everybody, to this Jay's Digest live stream. Sorry for the little delay right there. Not sure what was going on my end. Let me know. Let me know if you guys could hear me. I'm not sure what's going on, but the Blue Jays made a shocking move today, and look, it's a long time coming. Cavin Bigio has been DFA'd by the Toronto Blue Jays. And I'm sure that's because he refused an assignment to the minor leagues, probably didn't want to go there. I understand it from his perspective, but this was a long time coming for the Toronto Blue Jays. So very, very good move. I'm a fan of it, and I'm glad that the Blue Jays finally pulled the trigger on this. We know that Spencer Horwitz is coming up. He's going to play tonight, most likely, in Oakland. And this was the right move to make from the Blue Jays' perspective. So I'm glad that it finally happened. Don't know why it took this long. I don't know what they needed to see out of Cavin Bigio, but here we are. Here we are. The Jays finally made this move that I did not think they were going to make. And it's a good day. It's a very good day. He's had every chance to become an everyday big leaguer, whether it's him not being able to stay healthy, whether it's him underperforming at a criminal level. It's about time. It is about time that they made this move. Shout out to the over 100 people that are in here right now. The overwhelming feeling in the comments in the video that we made today was that Cavin Bigio, he's got to go. He's got to be the one to go in lieu of Spencer Horwitz coming up. And I agreed with that. I agreed with that wholeheartedly. But, I mean, I just didn't expect the team to do that move. I didn't expect that to be the corresponding move that they made in terms of bringing up Spencer Horwitz and then sending somebody else down. Shi Davidi had originally reported that it would most likely be Ernie Clement. And that's not the case. It's actually Cavin Bigio, and it was first reported by Shi Davidi, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a tweet from Richard Griffin. In a surprising roster move, Blue Jays have designated for assignment infielder Cavin Bigio to make room for first baseman Spencer Horwitz. That means they could not make a trade for Bigio. Surprise move because of his versatility, team history, and handedness. Now, I'm a huge fan of Richard Griffin. I love the work that he does over there. But I don't agree with this. I think that this was the right move for them to make. And I believe that Ernie Clement was a better fit for this team currently. And I understand that you're bringing up Spencer Horwitz. He's a lefty, but Cavin Bigio is a lefty as well. So it's not like you have a huge void to fill with the departure of Cavin Bigio. So I'm a huge fan of this move. I really am. And the Jays had to do this. The Jays had to do this. It's that simple. Are they going to go ahead and win the World Series now because Cavin Bigio isn't on the roster? Wouldn't go that far, but this is a step in the right direction. I just look at the ceilings of the two players side by side, Horwitz and Bigio. The ceiling of Horwitz is much higher in terms of power and just overall hitting ability. Cavin's stats, not very good. Not very good. I could tell you that much, Kevin. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I know his OPS is in the 600s, if not crept below that number. And despite a pretty strong start to the season, there were high expectations for him considering the way that he finished off last year as well. He hasn't lived up to that, and he has had every opportunity to do so. Just hasn't been able to deliver. Seems like the only reason they were keeping him was because his defense was decent. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't even go that far. I think he's an okay base runner. I think he's versatile. He can play many positions. Yeah, he refused to be optioned. That's fine. That's fine. I'm sure he wants an MLB opportunity somewhere else. He doesn't want to grind it out in the minor leagues, but it is what it is. It is what it is. It was the right move to do this, and I'm glad that it finally happened. That's all I'm going to say. That is all I'm going to say on the matter. How are we feeling? How are we feeling about this? That's what I want to know. Jays really need a sweep in Oakland. Yeah, I agree with that. How are we feeling about this move to DFA Cavin Bigio? And how are we feeling about Spencer Horwitz coming up and potentially playing today? What's the overall feeling in this chat? And shout out to the 220 people that are in here right now. I don't know how many Bigio haters are in this live chat right now, but I'll tell you this. Feels like Christmas morning for me. Feels like Christmas morning. Getting rid of Cavin Bigio and calling up Spencer Horwitz. It's not quite getting Shohei Ohtani in free agency, but this was a long time coming for me. It really was a long time coming for me. Guy looked lifeless, and it's honestly amazing having Horwitz. Pete, you're no pro, just a mouth who thinks he knows something. Aren't we all? Aren't we all, Robert? What did you disagree with that I said? Surprised Cavin wasn't sent down. I'm sure he was, but he just declined to have the option exercised. You can do that after 5 years of service time. I feel bad for Cavin Bigio. Not sure this is deserved. I would sooner get rid of Bichette. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. To DFA Bo Bichette? Don't really understand that. Was never a Biggio fan. Thank the Lord. I was not a fan of him either. I think my cat could go up and have better ABs than Biggio. At least defend the plate with 2 strikes. Yep, I kind of agree with that sentiment. Very passive. You could tell that he's not a confident ball player. He's had his chances to go ahead and take the reins of that second base position, of even the third base position, and just hasn't been able to do it. The Jays botched Cavin just like they botched Pearson. Got to smoke what some of you guys are smoking. Feel bad for Biggio and hope he can play in the MLB summer, but excited for Spencer. I'm sure Biggio is going to get an opportunity, but it might be his last opportunity. A lot of haters in here. Maybe a change of scenery. Yeah, his time here is done. It won't take him long to get claimed. I wouldn't be shocked if the Oakland A's go out and get him. Team that we're going to see tonight. I wouldn't be shocked if that were to happen. Pete, they sent someone down and brought someone up. You were going on like they just drafted DiMaggio. I'm a Biggio hater. I'm just a Biggio hater. That's what I am, Ron. And seems like a nice guy, but he was not cutting it on the field. So yeah, you could have brought me up and I would have been just as ecstatic. Or we could have brought you up, Ron, and I would have been ecstatic. I don't even know who you are. But I think this was the right move. Doesn't matter who's coming up. You could have brought up Joe DiMaggio for all I care. I would have had the same reaction. So Biggio gone. Does what for the team, moral and performance tonight? I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna rally behind him and say like, all right, man, this was our teammate. We grew up in the minor leagues with this guy. Let's go out and get this win for him. I don't know. I don't know what the feeling is going to be like. Or is it going to be a weight lifted off their shoulders? Like, all right, here's my opportunity to finally get in there. I was a catcher, third base. All right. So you could probably replace Biggio then. On this team drafting, anybody that can hit at this point is drafting Joe DiMaggio. Oh, look what I've started. Look what I've started. Full time. Why it take so long? What omen does this move manifest for the future of the Blue Jays? Getting rid of the old and finally throwing out the same tired game plan. I don't know if getting rid of Biggio changes the entire game plan. What I do think it does is It allows for more guys to get in there. It allows an opportunity to a guy like Spencer Horwitz to take over the second base position. Same thing with Ernie Clement. Maybe he earned some more playing time. Had a nice day the other day. Loki, you're telling me they should have kept Biggio over Bo? Who's Joe DiMaggio? Might start a baseball history digest. I feel relieved. I feel relieved right now. That is my overwhelming feeling. I feel relieved. This was a long time coming. Took a little too long to do, but at least some changes are happening. Schneider is much better at second base. Aren't we lacking offense? Maybe this is why the front office DFA'd Biggio. I mean, he was probably the worst hitter on the team in the early portion of the season. Who's next after Biggio? Maybe Vogelbach if he cools off and if Joey Votto gets healthy. Or if they want to just give all those at-bats to Spencer Horwitz. It depends. It really depends. But I think this was the move that had to be made. I was worried that it was going to be Ernie Clement. Someone that can play shortstop and who has been grinding it out and working really hard this year. I was worried that it would be Clement and he would go somewhere else and do well. So I'm glad that they kept Clement and they DFA'd Biggio. Can they DFA also Atkins and Shapiro? If claimed, do we save him $4 million? Not sure. Not sure on that. I'd have to double check. IKF is already unanimous MVP, so we don't need a better utility other than Clement in case of injury. Yeah, I agree with that. IKF has been one of the top performers on this team this year. And I was talking a lot of crap about that contract, but maybe you need to stop drinking out of that jug. It's not doing you any good. It's just water. Night hasn't started yet. Vogelbach out next. Give Barger some run. I'd give Barger a little bit more time in the minor leagues. That's what I would do. I don't know if he's fully ready yet. Vogelbach is an average DH and a good locker room guy. Kiermaier has been abysmal. Yeah, but he's making $9.5 million, so it's a lot of money. IKF is my fave player by far. He is better than Chapman and costs less. I wouldn't go as far as say he's better than Chapman, but he has been a really nice surprise for the Jays this year. Maybe Houston will look at him because of his father there. Maybe. I don't know how much playing time is available to Biggio in Houston, though, at this moment. Vogelbach has one homer this season and can't play the field. What does he offer? He's been really hot lately, and he's been swinging the bat nicely. And not many home run hitters on this team. So anyone who's putting the ball in play and doing good stuff in that regard, getting on base, I think that's a positive for this team. Can't just look at the home run total because it's not like anyone is hitting the ball out of the ballpark. RKF shows a lot of heart and hustle. Honestly, love watching the guy play. What are your thoughts on Zach Pop? I don't mind. I haven't minded him this year. I think he's been pretty good. His fastball looks really good. His sinker. High leverage guy? I don't think so, but pretty solid. Pretty solid so far this season. Do you think the Jays need better coaching? Think how many guys the Jays let go and they thrive elsewhere. It's definitely something to have a conversation about. I haven't been impressed with the coaching staff whatsoever, at least the hitting staff. I mean, Pete Walker is a lock to stay in Toronto. He is the best thing that's happened to this team in recent memory. Pete Walker. You hate to see that guy lose his job, but I'm wishing the best for Cavin Bigio. Yeah, I'm wishing the best for him too. Look, you don't want to see someone lose his job, but he'll be all right. He'll be all right financially, and I'm sure he'll find a job somewhere else. Peter, glad seeing you run alive. Sorry, missed the last one. No problem, Shane. No problem. I'm going to get the call-ins sorted out. I'm going to try to, at least. I won't have it for today, but I'm going to try to get that sorted out because it's a lot of fun and I love interacting with you guys. A lot of back and forth in the comments here, going at each other. I like to see it. I like to see it. Do you think Yariel could be the fifth starter for the remainder of his innings? That's a good question, Bluebird. It is. He's probably going to be capped out at 75 to 100 innings this year, so I don't know how many starts they could get out of him. But I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. It's a sad day for me. Biggio's biggest fan, although I have to say it's a deserved DFA. I was rooting for the guy too, Shane, because he's had a lot of opportunities and it would have been a nice story. A homegrown player that has been developed by the Blue Jays, or developed in quotations. He's had his opportunities to grow with the core, but he's failed to take those opportunities. So it's tough. It's a bittersweet day for the Blue Jays front office, I'd say, because you wanted him to step up and you wanted him to be that guy, but he's had the opportunities and he just hasn't been able to. So it sucks, but that's what it is. Thank you guys so much for the support, by the way. 283 people in here. Make sure to hit the like button as well on the stream. And subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Thank you guys for the overwhelming support that we've gotten. Will my Jays Bigio jersey go up in value? Bigio may be a good hitter, but never wanted to swing the bat. I don't know if he's a good hitter. I don't. And I don't think he is because he doesn't hit the ball hard, but he's got good plate discipline. He gets on base at a decent clip, but when he does make contact, he doesn't do damage. Where does Luis Robert fit on this team? Nowhere. Yeah, he does. He fits in left field. He definitely fits in left field. Next move is hopefully Orelvis. Now, who would get sent down if Orelvis Martinez were to be called up? And by the way, Martinez has cooled off significantly, so his numbers have really hit a wall lately, but still one of the top prospects in the organization, still arguably the biggest power in the organization, major leagues included. So maybe you can shave your playoff beard for luck. I would not. I would not do that. Mo, thank you for the Grand Slam, Mo. Appreciate it. Wow. That's awesome, Mo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome into this live stream, Mo. He's back. He's back. So, Mo, I don't know if you heard the news. Cavin Bigio has been DFA'd by the Toronto Blue Jays. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining the stream. Appreciate it. But yes, this is the news of the day. This is the news of the day. For some reason, I was kicked off the membership. I just saw it. That's weird. No problem, though, Mo. No problem. I mean, you're very generous, so don't worry about it. I'm sure it wasn't ill-intended. I'll give you that. We'll let you off the hook, Mo. We'll let you off the hook. KK fourth outfielder, Luis Robert left field, Varsho center field. Yeah, exactly. That's how I would line it up if the Jays were to go out and acquire Robert, but I just don't know. I don't know if they're in talks with that. I don't know if that's even a realistic possibility to go out and get him. But it's definitely an interesting conversation to be had. I'd love to see Luis Robert on the team, but it's like pros and cons. What would you have to give up to get the guy? And can he stay healthy if you do go out and get him? Because that's been a big issue for Luis Robert. It's been staying in the lineup. It's not his play on the field. He's very good. He's one of the premier power hitters in the game, but he's just never healthy. And after his rookie season, everyone expected him to be a perennial MVP candidate. Hasn't been the case because he can't stay on the field. But when he is on the field, man, the guy can really hit the long ball. He can. Wish we'd have sent Kirk another player for Varsho instead of Gurriel Moreno. Indra saying, I would rather they just go for a full rebuild. I don't know if a rebuild is necessarily the right thing to do. But I think a retool is the best at this point. Because you have young assets on your team. You have young, controllable assets on your team. So I don't know if a rebuild is necessary, but I do think a retool would definitely be smart for the Blue Jays. Absolutely. How can you succeed when you don't play? Rob agreeing with me, retool maybe. Yeah. Retool is the new rebuild. Thing is, a retool, you got a much quicker turnaround. You're not in the abyss for 10 to 15 years. I think that they've proven that they can't win with this team. I agree with that. Spencer Horwitz coming up today is not going to change the fortunes of this ball club. But we'll see. We'll see. They're going to wait till the trade deadline at least until something happens. That's for sure. Guys, what's the overall feeling here? Do you want the Jays to make some moves at the trade deadline, like in terms of adding players, or do you think it's best to sell off some assets like a Yusei Kikuchi or Jimmy Garcia or someone of that nature, or Danny Jansen even to that degree? Do you think the Jays should... Where's Barrios, your other host? Nick couldn't make it today, so I'm doing this one solo. But then you look at Baltimore and what they've done. Well, Baltimore was really bad for a long time, but they've drafted extremely well. They've hit on a lot of their draft picks. So I'd say it's not necessarily a sustainable model. Mo is saying sell as well. I don't know if it's a sustainable model to try and build your team like the Baltimore Orioles, because they're really good at drafting, and they have been for the past couple of years. So that's the difference maker. The Jays have not drafted too well lately. So is Ross Atkins going to be the one to turn this team into a surefire contender? Any free agent needs to be traded unless they re-sign. Jansen, Kikuchi. Yeah, Jimmy Garcia as well, upcoming free agent. Baltimore is the perfect example of how you build a team. Yeah, I mean, the Braves are a lot like Baltimore as well in the way that they've built that team. A lot of players came up together, and they made the subsequent moves by getting Matt Olson and all those other players, Marcell Ozuna, and that was the way that they built their team. Let's get better scouts. Let's get you in that room, Mo. No one more passionate than Mo and Shane. That's for sure. In this chat, no one more passionate than those two guys about this team and about the direction that they're heading in. So if anyone's going to make decisions on the future of the Blue Jays, I'd want Shane and Mo to spearhead those conversations. No doubt about it. Bro, if we had Matt Olson, it'd be incredible for DH. Yeah, he's a Gold Glove caliber first baseman as well. Need to get rid of Kirk and Manoah as well. Need to free roster space for players who can actually play. I mean, Manoah was good before he went down with injury. And I think he's starting to find it again. Just really unfortunate that it happened to him. I still no update on whether or not it's going to be Tommy John, but it just sucks because he was picking up momentum and it just got slashed. His momentum got slashed. Oh gosh, I would throw heat everywhere. I bet you would. Why is everyone so keen to trade Jansen? We don't have a catcher. If he goes, Kirk is not the way forward. You trade him if you're trying to retool, because unless you could re-sign him. I think that's why people are on the train of trading Danny Jansen. I wouldn't personally, but you also don't want to lose him at season's end for nothing. I'm sure they've had those conversations internally. Remember, for 16 months. Shout out to 20 legend or 2-0 legend. Bring back Anthopoulos as CEO. Shapiro out. I'm sure AA would like that role. I'm sure he'd do that. I'm sure he'd be in on that. A little homecoming. Shapiro would have to leave, though, because he's the one that decided to bring in Ross Atkins. So I don't know if that relationship would work. And Anthopoulos is doing some pretty good things in Atlanta as well. How about JP Ricciardi? Maybe 20 years ago. They got to end this Shatkins era, I beg. Damn, 16 months, he's an OG with the rest of us. He is. I didn't even know that. Shout out to 2-0 legend. Shout out. You don't want to lose Jansen, but he's never had a healthy season and you can't rely on him, but neither can you rely on Kirk. Yeah, I agree with that. But I think the two of them together as a tandem make up for one really good catcher. Because Kirk is fantastic defensively. I know his hitting has really fallen off a cliff in the past couple of seasons. But Jansen is a great hitter, just can't stay in the lineup. Not as great of a defensive catcher as Alejandro Kirk. Do you really think Alejandro Kirk is going to get back to his old 2022 self? I don't think so. I don't. Might have been a flash in the pan. I can't see him getting back to that silver slugger level. He doesn't play enough to get there in the first place. And no, I can't. I don't know what made him so successful that year, but he's definitely not that same player now. I'll tell you that much. No way you trade Vlad. Try and extend him while the Jays can. I'm sure they're having those internal conversations, but Vladdy would probably test the free agent market. I'm sure he would. I believe we have another stud catcher in A-ball, so like 2 years away. I think we keep Vlad and trade Bo. Vladdy turns out to be our Miggy. That would be best case scenario. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. turning into Miguel Cabrera. He looked like Miguel Cabrera in the 2021 season. Hasn't replicated those numbers, though. What will it take to rebuild the minors? It's said that there isn't the basis for a rebuild waiting in the wings. That's where trading impending free agents comes in. If you can trade Jansen and get assets, you'd be better off. If you can trade Jimmy Garcia and get assets, you'd be better off. At least your farm system would. And Yusei Kikuchi as well. If the Jays are out of it by the trade deadline, they need to look to trade those guys. End of story. I don't care if you can re-sign them. If they want to re-sign, they can come back here in the offseason. But you haven't re-signed them yet. Their word is no good as of that point. So if you're out of it by the trade deadline, it's got to be, you got to make those subsequent moves. And you got to try to replenish the farms. Who depleted the minors, AA or Shapiro? I hear stories of both. I mean, AA went all in on a lot of trades. I mean, bringing in Troy Tulowitzki, he traded some top prospects, bringing in Josh Donaldson as well. And now those prospects haven't exactly panned out, and that could just be the Jays not drafting well. The Jays haven't drafted well in 10 plus years. The only first round pick to have really performed is Alek Manoah, and we know what's going on with Alek Manoah right now. So was he a flash in the pan? Is he going to be a consistent performer? Remains to be seen, but that's really the only first round pick that has hit for the Toronto Blue Jays. For those of you that missed it, this was the news of the day. Cavan Biggio DFA'd by the Toronto Blue Jays. Daryl saying this is all such a shame. This window is looking smaller every day. It is. It's shrinking by the second. And I think their best opportunity was in 2021 when George Springer was George Springer. And Marcus Semien set a record for most home runs by a second baseman. That was the year that the Blue Jays had to go for it. Vladdy, a very slow start, hitting .295 with 30 RBIs. I don't know if you're being sarcastic, Ron. AA built a legitimate World Series contender. Chaparro hasn't won a single playoff game in 9 years. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Why did AA leave? I mean, the outlook was looking pretty bleak on the team. And going forward, I guess. And he got a great offer in Atlanta. And he's won a World Series there. He's built a winner, a consistent winner. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess it was the right move for him to leave. Who do you raid from Oakland's cupboard next? We have a history of getting good players from them. Yeah. Imagine Marcus Semien doesn't make that error throwing to first in the middle of 2021. Imagine Rafael Dolis doesn't blow a bunch of games out of the bullpen. Imagine Brad Hand wasn't a Blue Jay that year. You could say whatever you want about Marcus Semien, but if it wasn't for him, that team would not be as good as they were. Semien was fantastic. He was their second best player. You could even argue their best player that year. So I wouldn't pin that season on Semien. And losing him truly broke my heart as a Blue Jay fan. I think that's when the team really started to fall off, when Semien left for Texas. Because that sucked. That really sucked. He's going to be one of the best players in baseball for the next 5 years. He's Mr. Consistent. Today's lineup. Let's take a look at today's lineup, actually. I haven't seen it. Let's see. Today's lineup. Interesting. Today's lineup, Davis Schneider in left field leading off. Justin Turner DHing, batting second. Vladdy at first base, batting third. Bo at short, batting fourth. Springer hitting fifth in right field. Kirk catching, batting sixth. IKF, second base, batting seventh. Ernie Clement playing third base, batting eighth. Kiermaier draws the start in center field. He's batting ninth. And Chris Bassett takes the hill. So an interesting lineup for the Jays today. Justin Turner hitting second. Not sure how I feel about that. But he got picked up 3 hits the other day, so maybe he's starting to turn the corner again. I'm surprised Horwitz isn't in the lineup today. I'm surprised Horwitz is not drawing the start. Is it a lefty on the mound for the Oakland A's? That's the question we got to ask ourselves here. Oh, yes, it is. It is a lefty on the mound. So that is why Horwitz is not starting. A lot of right-handed bats in the lineup today for the Jays, and for good reason as well. Let me get a poll going for you guys. All right, let's do this here. Engage with your start a poll. All right. Do the Jays sweep the Oakland A's? That is the question of the poll. Yes or no? All right, guys, you can go and vote on that right now. Do the Blue Jays sweep the Oakland A's in Oakland? Schneider, the coach, is the next one that needs to go. A lot of people are saying no, 81% right now. 36 votes for. Okay, you guys are spamming this. Mo is saying no as well. Jays couldn't sweep the Oakland Double-A team. Hey, they swept the White Sox. So that's a start. That's a start. Bo's too much of a prima donna. Not going to have that conversation today. I had it in the last live stream. I don't know if you guys tuned into that one. If you want to go check it out, go ahead and do that. But wouldn't say that. I would not say that. I mean, I have said that. I'd be impressed if they win more than one game. Come on, Dave. Come on, Dave. This is the Oakland A's we're talking about. The Jays are not that bad. Okay, come on. Give them a little bit of credit. Jeez. Even I've been negative, but I mean, this is super negative. Come on, guys. Sweeping is hard enough, but with this team, no. All right, so let me change the question then. Do the Blue Jays win tonight? I'll change it up. Okay, so let's say the Jays turned it on. What's the cost on Mason Miller? The cost on Mason Miller is more than the Blue Jays would be able to pay. He's the best closer in baseball, or second best closer in baseball, and he's got 5.5 years of control left before he hits free agency. So I'd say too much for a reliever. Even though that would be fantastic to see Mason Miller in Toronto. I don't believe in Chris much anymore. Tonight is a loss. Honestly, the Blue Jays play better against the top teams more than they do with the crappy ones. Jays win the series, but we're dropping game one. Interesting take by Shane over there. Tonight is a coin flip. When will we see more Bison call-ups? I want to be excited again. I'm sure it'll happen sooner rather than later. Maybe a Relvis Martinez if he can get hot again. I see happy day tomorrow with a win tonight. Is Clement Error's problems over? We'll see. We'll see tonight. He's getting a start at third base. He's going to go out there and prove himself, hopefully. Thanks for the question, Lindsay. Appreciate it. He has been making a lot of errors this year. He hasn't been doing well defensively, but we'll see. Hopefully he can turn that around tonight. Bassett is going to get it together tonight. I hope so. I hope so. Hasn't looked like Chris Bassett often this year. Before Manoah was injured, he was our second best starter behind Berrios. And a very small sample size, but yes, he was, Chase. You're right. You're right. Really too bad. That killed all the momentum that Alec had. Clement's got good hands. Yeah, I like him defensively. He just had that one rough game with Manoah on the mound. Let's go Oilers. I agree. Let's go Oilers. Lucas is next to be called up. Where does Relvis fit in? I hear he's not great defensively. He's not great defensively, but the Blue Jays have come out and said that they're going to sacrifice defense for offense. And, of course, they sacrificed offense for defense a couple of off seasons ago. That hasn't worked out for them, and now they're in the position where they got to scramble, and they got to find what works best. I think we end the month over 500. I don't know. This is a real tough month. You're playing the Yankees. They did well to win the last two games against the Orioles, so I was happy with that. But they're playing the Yankees. They're playing the Guardians twice. It's going to be a tough month of July. If he comes back stronger than before, his comeback story will be insane. Hashtag Alec Manoah Revenge Tour. Relvis will be a future second baseman. I like the point that Buck Martinez made on the broadcast not long ago, that he wants to see guys just play their positions and stick to one position instead of being labeled as utility guys all the time. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up real soon. Thank you so much for tuning in, all the support that we've got. Shout out to Mo for becoming a member once again, and Shane again for your continued support. 20 legend, 16 months as a member. You guys have been killing it with the support lately on these videos, so thank you so much for that. And it's been great. It's been great to interact with all you guys, get your thoughts despite the poor stretch of play by the Blue Jays. But guys, that'll wrap it up for this one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. Linda, did you ask something? Sorry if I missed that. And make sure to hit the like button on the way out as well. What's the holdup on Lucas? Feels like he hasn't gotten a fair shot. It's because Kiermaier and Varsho are pretty much locked into those outfield spots. I don't know if there's room for Lucas. Let's get those call-ins back. First live stream. Great job. We'll join again. Go Jays. Thanks, Daryl. Appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm going to try to be doing these more often, depending on Nick's schedule. If you can't make it, then I'll do my best to pump these out solo for you guys. Love interacting with each and every one of you. It's been great. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys again for all the continued support. And hopefully the Jays start off with a win tonight in Oakland. Pretty late start time, 9:40 Eastern time. So grab a cup of coffee if you want to stay up for the remainder of that. I know Mo is a West Coaster, so he won't be affected by that. But for anyone that's going to be staying up tonight, hopefully you enjoy the game. Hopefully the Jays give us a nice performance that we remember. And I love West Coast games personally, so I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to stay up and have a good time with it. But guys, appreciate it again. And we'll catch you all soon in either our next video or our next live stream. And Mo, thanks again for becoming a member. Really appreciate it, man. And I hope you're doing well. So hopefully could see you again in one of these live streams. So appreciate it, guys.